And welcome to that Bible Guy, where we answer your difficult questions on the Bible. Today, what I'm asking, the question is, what has been the greatest lesson of lockdown? It's a question I've asked myself, and due to some things I've been reading, what has been the greatest lesson of lockdown for us as Christians? Well, what else I'm going to look at today? I'm going to ask that question. What has been the greatest lesson? Many things you could say about lockdown. There's obviously been much hardship in different countries. People have been locked down to different extents and for different periods of time, and have gone without things that they've been so used to in their life. And I am really praying. I don't want to make a light of that. I'm really praying for anyone in difficulty. Let me know if you are struggling in any way, if I can help or if I can pray for anyone. I certainly am praying for many people at the moment, and people who've been through incredibly difficult circumstances. But it's good to ask when you go through difficult or strange times, to ask the question, what can I learn here? What should I learn in this situation? And maybe when you're going through it, it's not the time, but maybe it's when you come out the other side. You can ask that question, what can I learn from this? And that's a little bit of what I'm doing at the moment. Maybe some of us are doing the same thing. There are many things that you could say are lessons of lockdown so far. There's many things, no doubt. We could all just to realize I need to appreciate my freedoms much more than I did before. I need to appreciate going for a meal, going for a drink, a coffee somewhere, going to a sporting event. There's things I did for so long that I really need to appreciate them more. Maybe you just need to appreciate our health a bit more and realize we're not as foolproof as we think we are. Maybe we just need to reflect a bit more on those who suffered and just be more empathetic and more helpful to other people. But for me, I suppose some specific things might be I really missed out on seeing people. I missed out on going to church every week was a particular difficulty, I suppose. I think for me, many positives took place, like my ministry had developed because, in part, because of lockdown, which was obviously a great thing. There was opportunities that I got then that wouldn't have been there otherwise, but also just extra time with my kids and family. And again, whilst that wasn't all ideal because they were missing school and so on, I realised this time with my family is always a wonderful thing. And when I look at my little kids' development, and spending time with them can never be a bad thing. So there's things there we can ask and learn from and think, well, that's something to reflect on. That's something I appreciate. What is the greatest lesson, though? What's the greatest thing that stands out? And this is for me at the minute. What is the greatest thing? Well, for me, that we all need to help each other. It sounds really simple. I'll unpack that now. We all need to help and be there for each other. And this is what I'm going to term golden rule lockdown. We all need to be there for each other. I need other people to help. And specifically, what I mean by this is that I'm reliant upon, and other people are reliant upon each other's grace and mercy and patience. I am I need from others mercy, patience, help, for them to think about me as I need to think about them. Why do I say this? Why is this the greatest lesson of lockdown? Well, I've been many people I've spoken to of mental health issues throughout this lockdown. Things that were small before have escalated and exacerbated much greater levels because of lockdown. People have really struggled. They've been put in situations that they can't get out of, that they find incredibly difficult, with no opportunity to vent and to share with others the way they used to. And maybe people just not able to get time with each other and connect on any level, or maybe you just haven't been able to see the relatives and the people that you really love and care about, and it's caused you to worry and be more anxious and fearful. Maybe just stuck, as I said already, just in difficult situations that you can't see a way out of. I know at the minute businesses don't have dates for opening in Northern Ireland, and it's almost like you can't see any way out at this point, even at this stage. So again, kids missed out on school. Some people in my family too, my stepkids, have both lost their jobs over lockdown. Others I know weren't getting paid the same. Others lost their job completely. Like I say, there's been so many things in there, so many things to think about. And this is why I say, for me, last July and August was my difficult spell. We'd been in lockdown a few months. I was working from home. One of my problems is I'm hyper conscientious, hyper responsible, and always feel like I need to deal with anything that I can see around me. My kids were off school every day, and they had different things that they were dealing with. While I was still trying to work from home, they were coming out to me about different things that were bothering them or that was troubling them or anxieties they had. And I felt like I was taking on so much. My ministry, my work schedule, family life, kids, responsibilities, and just about everything else. I took on so much. I got to the point for a few weeks where I felt like my brain stopped functioning. I couldn't take on any more. And I think I almost shut down in my mind a little bit. I retreated into myself for a couple of weeks. I couldn't take any more. I had seen my capacity. I'd seen my breaking point, if you like. I remember going on holiday to Donegal in the caravan for just 1 week. And I remember as we went there, I was starting to develop symptoms, even in terms of my own symptoms of very mild chest pain for a few days and things like this. Just my mind was almost a little bit dizzy. And it was a bit scary for a few days, for probably for a couple of weeks, to be honest. But what it showed me my vulnerability, but what it also showed me was how much I needed people. I look back on that time, and even at that time, I was helped so much. The day that I remember feeling it, particularly in work, I felt like I couldn't deal with this work anymore because of all the things in my mind. I phoned and spoke to my boss, and she said, down tools, finished for the day. Go off and do whatever makes you feel good. A walk in the forest, the woods, pray, whatever it is. And that's what I did. I really, really, she didn't even think about it. Just instantly told me head off and take it easy and go and get what would be beneficial for you. I remember a friend who also helped us out, a long-standing friend of mine that I always speak to. I remember I went up to speak to him and I offloaded all this stuff and I came away feeling lighter because he wanted to know, he wanted the details, he cared about it. I remember being away for that week with my family and they actually just supported me and were helpful and were there for me. And I was like, I am so needful of people's support. There are many, many people out there like that. And mine was a short spell. But since that time, it's made me realize the greatest lesson of lockdown is that we really need each other. This has always been God's plan. This is exactly what God has meant and how He wants us to operate, whether it be lockdown or not lockdown. He tells us in Romans 12, verses 9 to 10, that love must be sincere, hate what is evil, cling to what is good. And it says, be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. Be devoted to one another. This is God's plan. He calls us to be devoted to one another, to honor one another above yourselves. As Christians, we will take the initiative with being this way. But this is specifically addressed by Jesus. This whole idea of helping others, thinking about others, is specifically addressed by Jesus in Luke chapter 6. Let's look in Luke chapter 6. And he tells us again what's known as the golden rule. The golden rule. It says in verse 27 of Luke 6, it says, but to you who are listening, I say, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you. Wow. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. If someone slaps you in one cheek, turn to them the other also. If someone takes your coat, do not withhold your shirt from them. Give to everyone who asks you, and if anyone takes what belongs to you, do not demand it back. Here's it is. Do to others as you would have them do to you. And he unpacks this a little bit more for enemies. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who are good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do that. And if you lend to those from whom you expect repayment, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners expecting to be repaid in full. But love your enemies, do good to them and lend to them without expecting to get anything back. Jesus talks about this very principle, the greatest lesson of lockdown, to help others. Jesus addresses it specifically here and gives us this, what's known as the golden rule. Jesus never called it that. It was done by the Bible translators of the 16th century, read this and thought, this is the golden rule. And they were right to a large extent. Why did Jesus say it? Because of the crowd who were listening to him, and also because of our heart. He knows that our inclination is towards self-preservation, benefit self, look after self, do whatever helps you in life, get yourself ahead first. Jesus knew this is our inherent state. This is the way we are, and we need something to lift us out of that natural state. He was speaking to the religious who were outwardly religious, outwardly godly, seemingly, but inwardly they did not think about others. He was saying he knew they did not love their enemies, and that was the standard he was calling people to. Notice this golden rule, it's proactive and positive. That's the difference with other religions. Confucianism says, do not do to others what you do not want them to do to you. Hinduism says, do not do to others what would cause pain to you. Buddhism says, hurt not others in ways you find hurtful. So it's all put in the negative. They're all done as negatives of commands. It's known as the ethic of reciprocity. The ethics of reciprocity. Don't do that thing to them because you wouldn't like them doing it to you. It's all put in the negative. Jesus flipped that completely and says, I want you to treat people the way you would like to be treated. Jesus had a solution even to lockdown. The problems of lockdown, the difficulties of being isolated on your own, feeling separate from people. We're in lockdown with communication, with Zoom, with phone calls, with WhatsApp, with so many things at our disposal to reach out and speak to and help people, with food banks, aid charities. There's so many things that we can be doing that would help other people. Jesus gave us the solutions to the biggest problem of lockdown by saying, this is the golden rule. This is what I want you to do from others. I mentioned it today because I was a benefactor of other people's mercy and love. The question is, though, who needs your help today? Who around you, your family, people you come into contact with or may not come into contact, who needs your help? Who needs you as Christians? Who needs you to be like Jesus in their life? Who can you be like for others the way someone was for me? And that's the question I ask myself. Here's the challenge from this scripture. Do to others as you would have them do to you. But also, Jesus said, do it even to those that are classed as your enemies. And here's the thing, and here's the challenge. Do to others without expecting anything back again. You might do it to someone else. You might show patience, grace, mercy. You may step out, bring someone food supplies or shopping. They may not appreciate it and give it back. Jesus says do it anyway. Do to others the way you would want them to do for you. I say this today because for me this is the greatest lesson of lockdown, that we need to be there for others and even for people that could be considered your enemies. Jesus had the solution. He said, do to others what you would have them do to you. We would look out for people. We would help people with mental health struggles, people who've experienced loss and grief, people who may be losing their jobs, people who are stressed and anxious, but they don't know why. And maybe they don't even understand it. But as Christians, I call us, I urge us, I challenge us from the scripture today to do to others the way you'd have them do to you, and also without expecting anything in return. You're the benefactor of it, I have no doubt. When you think about this, I'm absolutely the benefactor of it, and this is the solution. Hopefully we're coming out of lockdown. We keep praying that we can come out of lockdown. But if anything in this today has really challenged you or helped you, please let me know. Please share this on so that other people can also benefit from this. Please like the video, share it on. Please subscribe to that Bible Guy if you haven't already. And again, of my ministry that's developing, again, so I can help other ministries, please link up to Patreon if you would be so inclined. Thanks for listening today, and let's get his word out there.